What if the Tudors left secret messages, hidden in their portraits, for us to uncover centuries later? Not random details, not decoration, but codes, symbols of power, warnings to rivals, clues about marriages, alliances, betrayals, even death. For 500 years, Tudor paintings have hung silently on palace walls. But what if they were never meant to be silent at all? What if every rose, every jewel, every pose was part of a language, a visual code designed to protect the dynasty and threaten anyone bold enough to challenge it? Today, we decode the hidden meanings inside the most iconic Tudor portraits. Messages that royalty understood instantly, but the rest of the world never saw. The Tudor Code, hidden meanings in royal portraits. In the Tudor era, portraits were not art, they were propaganda. There were no cameras, no press conferences, no viral photos to shape public opinion. A portrait was the message, and every brushstroke mattered. As the camera slowly zooms into Holbein's famous portrait of Henry VIII, notice the first code. 1. The stance of power. Henry stands wide-legged, shoulders broad, filling the frame. This wasn't his real body. He couldn't even walk without help at this point. This pose says, "I am unchallenged, I am unbreakable." A lie, presented as truth. Next, the gold. Every jewel, every stitch, every fur trim was designed to scream, "I am wealth, I am England." Portraits were currency, political currency. Each one delivered a message. Who rules? Who bleeds? Who belongs? Who must submit? And for the first time in history, we're going to decode those messages. Let the screen show a gallery of Tudor portraits: Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth of Thorn, Edward VI, Mary Y. Because every object is a clue, every accessory is a statement. The rose. Whenever you see a red or white rose, it symbolizes the union of the houses of York and Lancaster, a reminder that the Tudors ended the Wars of the Roses. If Elizabeth holds a rose, she's saying, "I am peace, I am legitimacy." The globe. In portraits where Elizabeth rests her hand on a globe, especially the Armada portrait, the message is blunt: the world is mine to shape. Her hand placement is not random, it's over the Americas, a declaration of empire, centuries before empire truly existed. The book. If the sitter touches a book with one finger, like Catherine Parr often does, it means, I am educated, I am pious, I have moral authority. Women rarely used books as symbols unless they wanted to project intelligence. Catherine Parr used them constantly. The pearls appear everywhere on Elizabeth I's. Why? Pearls symbolized purity, virginity, and divine favor. Her entire image was crafted around the myth of the Virgin Queen. But the Tudors never left symbols without layers. Pearls also show up in portraits of Anne Boleyn, not for purity, but to subtly mock her enemies' accusations of promiscuity. The broken column. In some portraits, a broken column appears behind a queen. This means, I stand despite a fallen dynasty. It's a message of survival, a threat in disguise. The Tudors spoke through objects, but they whispered through color. Tudor portraits weren't painted to capture reality. They were designed to control it. Every color, every stitch, every angle, a calculated declaration. Let's decode them. 1. The color code. Red. Power, authority, royal blood. Henry VIII drowned himself in red to remind every viewer, my rule is not optional. White. Purity, innocence, legitimacy. Elizabeth, I used white to project the impossible image, the flawless, untouchable Virgin Queen. Black. Not mourning, power. Black fabric was expensive, difficult to dye, and showed wealth. When Mary I wore black, she wasn't grieving. She was dominating. Gold. Divine favor, not just wealth. Gold told the audience, God chose me. 2. The composition code. Portraits weren't casual. Figures were placed with intention. The forward gaze. When a Tudor royal stares directly at the viewer, it means, I confront you, I command you. Anne Boleyn's most iconic portrait does this. Even without an authentic contemporary likeness, the recreated gaze is unmistakable. Calm, confident, unbothered. A warning to her rivals, I'm here to stay. Ironically, she didn't. The side gaze used for children and courtiers, a signal of humility or insignificance. Edward VI's early portraits used the forward gaze even as a child, a statement that the heir was already a king in training. Centered figure. Only the most powerful royals could be perfectly centered. Everyone else was strategically off balance. 3. The clothing code. No Tudor queen wore anything by accident. The ruffs, the huge, almost absurd collars, they weren't fashion, they were barriers. They create distance, they make the wearer untouchable, emotionally and physically. Elizabeth's ruffs grew larger over time, a visual metaphor of her increasing power. The sleeves, massive, padded, expensive sleeves, signified, I have wealth and connections. Anne of Cleves' German sleeves were mocked by Henry VIII, but in her portrait, they signaled status beyond England. The jewels. Every jewel was a message. A pearl, purity, a ruby, noble lineage, a diamond, eternity. When Catherine Howard posed with rubies, she was projecting a purity she did not possess. The portrait became tragic foreshadowing. Now that we've decoded the tools, let's read the Tudor messages hidden in their most iconic portraits. Now we decode the portraits that were never meant to be read by ordinary eyes. Each is a puzzle. Each carries warnings, claims, and secrets. Elizabeth I. The Ditchley portrait. The screen shows the massive image, Elizabeth standing on a map of the world, at first glance. Beauty, grace, rich detail, but look closer. She stands on England itself, a claim of ultimate dominance. She is literally above the nation, storm clouds behind her, clear skies before her, a message to enemies. Without me, chaos. With me, peace. Her dress glitters like stars, symbol of her divine right. Not just queen, chosen. This portrait wasn't a painting, it was a sermon of power. To Henry VIII. The Whitehall mural. Holbein's masterpiece, destroyed in a fire, but preserved in copies. Henry fills the frame. He stands aggressively forward, hands on hips, legs wide. This pose is not natural, it's psychological warfare. His eyes don't soften, ever. A warning, challenge me and die. The low viewpoint. Holbein painted Henry from below, making the king appear towering, larger than life, almost godlike. This wasn't a portrait. It was an intimidation weapon. 3. Anne Boleyn, the bee pendant portrait. Even though the original is lost, the symbolic reconstruction remains powerful. The bee pendant, not vanity, defiance. Anne boldly wore her initial in a court where everyone tried to hide their ambition. It said, I am Anne Boleyn, remember the name. Her enemies did. Black dress plus pearls. A deliberate contradiction, black swan danger pearls. Innocence together. A statement, I am misunderstood. The painting became a symbol of her myth, the queen who threatened a kingdom. 4. Mary's Spore. The portrait of a woman misjudged Mary. Tudor appears rigid, aggressive, almost masculine, but this was intentional. Dark clothing, stiff posture, minimal jewelry, she projected, I am authority, not decoration. The hand on the prayer book, a warning to Protestants, I rule by God's will, oppose me at your own risk. Mary's portrait worked too well. It shaped her legacy for centuries. 5. Edward VI, the prince who was already king. Edward appears like a miniature Henry VIII. Same pose, same stance, same clothing style. A message to Europe. The Tudor line is unbroken. Even as the prince was sickly, the portrait insisted the dynasty will survive. It didn't. We've decoded the symbols, colors, and hidden messages. But the final act reveals something even bigger. Why the Tudors wanted us to decode them at all. Now that we've decoded these symbols, a bigger question appears. Why hide messages in portraits at all? Why didn't the Tudors simply write down what they meant? Why speak in codes, colors, poses, and props? Because the Tudors understood something we still see today. Pictures outlive words. A letter can be burned. A speech can be misquoted. A rumor can fade. But a portrait is forever. And the Tudors used this immortality to control their story. 1. Portraits were political weapons. When Henry VIII wanted Europe to fear him, Holbein made him bigger, broader, more terrifying than reality. When Elizabeth wanted to appear eternal, untouched by age, artists erased wrinkles, softened lines, and bathed her in divine light. When Mary wanted obedience, she became the embodiment of religious authority. Portraits weren't realism. They were strategy, branding, psychological manipulation. They shaped how the world saw the Tudors and how the Tudors wanted the world to obey. 2. The hidden messages protected them. A rose in a queen's hand wasn't just decoration. It was a claim to England's throne. A hand resting on a globe wasn't arrogance. It was a warning to rivals. A single pearl wasn't fashion. It was a declaration of purity, especially powerful in a court obsessed with scandal. These codes allowed the Tudors to speak boldly without speaking at all. It was communication disguised as art. 3. Portraits allowed them to rewrite reality. Henry VIII dying, swollen, infected, angry. Yet in portraits, he looks invincible. Elizabeth aging, lonely, pressured. Yet in portraits, she appears divine, perfect, immortal. Anne Boleyn executed as a traitor. Yet in portraits, she looks calm, intelligent, controlled. The Tudors understood that power isn't about truth. It's about what truth looks like, and portraiture allowed them to control that truth. 4. The code wasn't just for their enemies. It was for us. Every symbol they used, every pose, every hidden message was meant to travel forward in time, to remind future generations of their legacy, to shape how they're remembered. And it worked. 500 years later, we still decode their portraits. We still argue over them. We still feel the power of their images. The Tudors didn't just leave history. They left instructions. So here's the question. If the Tudors hid messages in their portraits, what are the powerful people of today hiding in theirs? What symbols do modern leaders, celebrities, and rulers place in front of us, hoping we never look closely enough to decode them? The Tudors used portraits to shape reality. Today, we use photos, filters, albums, feeds. Maybe the Tudor code never disappeared. Maybe it just changed platforms. The question isn't whether the Tudors hid their messages. The real question is, are we still being controlled by images today? If this deep dive into Tudor secrets opened your eyes, hit the like button so YouTube knows this story shouldn't stay hidden. And if you want more mysteries, more codes, more uncovered truths from history, subscribe. There's more to uncover. Much more.